Welcome to Choose Amazing. I'm Stuart Haidt, author of the book Choose Amazing Health and the My Amazing Life Planner. This segment is on train washed eyes. And I'm using train washed as this comparison between training, when you think you're getting trained on actual facts, and being brainwashed, or actually being deceived or indoctrinated to believe something that isn't necessarily true. So I just merged those together and call it train washing or train washed. And instead of the eyeball, we're talking about the letter I. So there are four I's here that actually are keeping us from moving out of the comfortable zone into the free forever zone. So we have survival, comfortable, and freedom. But we want to figure out, why are we stuck in this zone of misery called comfortable? And it comes down to four I's. And this has to do with really any category of life. If you're talking about health or relationships or money, but we'll just talk about money in this particular instance, on getting financially free, on just really stepping back and seeing what would it take to do that. And you've been train washed on a few things, so I want to cover those. The first one is that being rich is immoral, that in order to be financially free or a millionaire or whatever that is, that you have to be greedy, you have to hurt people, you have to cheat people, you have to lie, you have to, that all rich people are just these greedy jerks. And yet, there are a lot of people over in this category, survival, or that are broke or don't have very much money, that you can still be greedy and not have very much money. You can be selfish, you can still hurt people if you're broke or don't have a lot of money. So having that much money does not make you immoral. It's what you're going to do with that. And yes, there are people that have a lot of money that are immoral or greedy, but that's not an isolated trait that only rich people have. People in all of these categories have that. And so if you think that this goal of being financially free is immoral, then of course your brain is going to be like, oh, we don't want that. In fact, let's be as broke as possible. Let's make sure we have zero money in our account, or let's be majorly in debt, because that's more godly that way, and righteous if you're broke than if you're rich. So that's the train washing that's been done about having money. But it's interesting that the amount of money is different for different people. They think, oh, billions, that's too much. But if I have a couple 100,000, that's okay. Well, who made those rules? Where is that? And why are we picking a number that's immoral instead of the activities done by the person? Very different. The next I that we're going to look at is impossible. There are a lot of people that think it is impossible to be financially free. You have to have some secret genetic code in order to get financially free, or it's just complete blind luck. It's just winning the lottery, going to Vegas, betting on black or something like that, and that's the only way that it can happen. And this comes from, maybe you've tried a few things in the past that people said, oh, you should try real estate, and you start down this and it doesn't work, and so you think, oh, that's impossible. So then you try another avenue, maybe it's stocks, and you try investing and you lose a whole bunch of money in that. And so then you try maybe network marketing, and you try a couple of companies there and it doesn't work, and you say, oh, it's impossible. And your friends and your family and other people say, no, it's impossible to get there. It's impossible to do network marketing or real estate or stocks or writing a book or any of those things. That is not the way to go. You need a job. You need 2 jobs. You need 3 jobs, because it's impossible to get here. But they don't realize that it's actually impossible to get financially free with the average job that the average person has. If you think through, ever crunch the numbers on what it takes to get financially free, then it's nearly impossible for that as well. The next I is inferior. And a lot of people don't even try to go over these bridges to financial freedom because they think they are inferior. They think they've been told all their lives, you're dumb, you got average grades, you weren't the top of your class, you got picked last at kickball, whatever it is. They've been told they're inferior. They've been told, don't be like those other stuck-up people up there that are, but they glamorize them on magazines and talk shows and everything else. These celebrities or other people, they make it look like you are supposed to be like them. But on the other hand, they're saying, no, you can't be like them because you're not as pretty as them, or you're fatter than they are, or you're not as smart as them, or whatever it is. They're just constantly brainwashing you that you are inferior to these people, and you can never achieve that because of your genetic code, that it's hereditary, and you'll never get there. The last I is isolated. This is where people think, I can't do this on my own. I don't know anybody that can help me get financially free, and I'm all by myself. Or maybe if I do become financially free, then I'm going to be isolated. I'll lose my friends and family. Well, if your friends or family wouldn't want to be around you when you're financially free, then perhaps you need to redefine what the word true friend means, or a true family member means. And in addition to that, it could be that if you do become financially free and your friends and family just want to take from you, then that really doesn't fit the definition of a true friend or family member either. So you want to redefine these eyes. You want to retrain the brain, is what I call it. So you've been brainwashed, so now it's time to retrain the brain of these four eyes that are holding you back from moving into this financial freedom category. So this first one, instead of immoral, we want to look at it as inspiring, because more message can be delivered the more money you have. You have more that you can do for the world, for others, if you have abundance. If you don't have anything, if you're barely getting by and you don't have enough food or something like that, you can't help as many people. If you have a message that you want to get out to the world, whether it's spiritual or teaching some concept or stress or whatever it is that the message is, that message is much easier to give to the world if you are financially free, if you are not tied down to working 60 to 80 hours a week for someone else's dream. So this is inspiring. It should be inspiring. Wow, if I was financially free, I could start an orphanage. I could help these people. I could start free training for people, because what kind of training is being given in the traditional school system right now? Do they have goal setting, financial freedom things? Do they really have a good health foundation? What are they teaching as opposed to what is really needed to learn? So you could do that. You could do a lot of good if you had financial freedom. So I look at it as inspiring instead of being immoral. The next one is, in contrast to impossible, I would say imaginable. And if you can't imagine it, then the chances are you won't be able to achieve it. But if you can imagine it, if you can imagine getting training from people that have done it and learning how to break this cycle that you've been in, that's keeping you from moving into this free to live your dreams category, when you start imagining it, your brain starts thinking, oh, you know what, that's easier to do than I thought. Maybe if I didn't spend 2 hours a night watching television and spent maybe an hour a night instead learning something, reading, doing some research, calling some people up that might help, then little by little we start crossing over this bridge. It becomes imaginable instead of impossible. The opposite of inferior is invaluable. You are invaluable in today's world of slavery and sex trafficking, of human trafficking. There's a price that is put on people's lives. And yet a moral person, someone who is not out doing horrible things, how do you put a price on a person, a living, breathing person? What price would you put on that? Well, that's you. You are invaluable. The things that the creator of the world wants you to do are invaluable. That's why he put you here. And see, Satan would want you to not do that message, whatever you were put here to do. He wants you not to impact others in a positive manner. He wants you stuck and trapped and kept in this zone of misery over here, because he knows if you're over here, you're stressed about money, you're stressed about your relationships, and you're tired because you're working so hard, you can't impact as many people. And so he keeps you in that zone, continues to train wash these areas so that you feel inferior, when in reality, God looks at you and sees you as invaluable. So you have to decide, who are you going to believe? Are you going to believe immoral people? You're going to believe Satan? You're going to believe God? Maybe you don't believe in God and Satan, but who are you going to choose to believe where your value comes from? Is it inferior or invaluable? For your children, if you have kids, do you see their lives as invaluable? What would you trade for their life? How much would you take? How much money would you take just to give them away? There is no dollar amount. Well, that same rule applies to you as being invaluable. This last one is isolated, and the opposite of that is being involved. You want to be involved with people that have gotten the financial freedom, that know what it takes to get over these bridges here, to move into an amazing life instead of down here in these survival and comfortable categories, to live your dreams, to really take the imaginable and the invaluable and the inspiring and get involved in accomplishing that. Those are the things that you should focus on. Those are the 4 eyes that you should be retraining the brain on a daily basis. And it may take a few times a day, or maybe 12 times a day for a while, to retrain your brain, because of being trained washed so often on immoral, impossible, inferior, and isolated. It doesn't have to be this way. It can be this way, but you have a choice. Every day you have a choice. You can do something average, or you can do something amazing. And I say, choose amazing.